I'm going to read to you from our Read Aloud Framed, or Chapter 21, Back to School. It was the first day of school, and Mom wanted to drive. This had nothing to do with her being worried about Nikolay Nevrescu, and everything to do with the fact that she's a mom and thinks I'm still in kindergarten. It's less than a mile away, I said. I can just walk with Margaret. Why don't I drive Margaret too, she offered. Because then her mother will feel left out and she'll want to drive, I answered. We'd end up with 2 cars when we don't need any. Okay, but if I don't drive, then I get to take a first day of school picture in front of the house, she said suddenly, turning it into a negotiation, and one with a great smile, not the I'm 12 and hate having my picture taken pretend smile. I carefully considered her offer. Are you going to post the pictures online? I'm going to post some picture online, she said. It will either be this one or that adorable one of you as a baby dancing in a diaper. I'll let you pick. She's a tough negotiator, my mother. All right then, I said, cutting my losses. Let's take some pictures. I posed for a few solo shots and a couple more with Margaret. Once Mom was satisfied, Margaret and I started walking. We'd made it to the end of the driveway when Mom called out random encouragement. 7th grade will be 7th heaven. Be true to yourself. I love you. I turned to face her. That's why you can't drive me on the first day, Mom, because you say stuff like that out loud, where people can hear. I know, it's just that I care so much. I know you do, Mom. Don't worry, Mrs. B, Margaret said. I'll keep an eye on him. We waved goodbye and started down the sidewalk, although I can't be certain Mom didn't secretly follow us in the car. Sorry about that, I said to Margaret once we were far enough away. Are you kidding? She replied. At 7:15, I was in the middle of a video chat with my grandmother so she could see my outfit. It's always hard to start at a new school, but at least it wasn't in the middle of the year. We moved to London in February, and that was a total nightmare. I got the worst seat in every classroom and never really found a group of friends. This time I had high hopes. I also had Margaret helping guide the way and answering any questions. Like when we walked through the front door, I saw the security set up. Metal detectors and x-ray machines, I asked. Is this an everyday thing? She shrugged like it was no big deal. You get used to it. They use them throughout the district. The school's safe, isn't it? Totally, she said. Besides, this will help keep out any strangers, like the Romanian mafia. I laughed. Well, when you put it that way, I guess it's a good thing. Because Deal was so large, each grade was split into teams of 5 teachers and about 100 students. The teams were named after major international cities, and we were assigned to Team Cairo. Margaret and I had 3 classes together: English, ancient history, and algebra. But more important, we were both in the same lunch. Breakfast may be the most important meal of the day, nutritionally speaking, but lunch is the one that matters the most when it comes to socializing. It really helps us to have a friend. The biggest struggle I had that first week had nothing to do with schoolwork or making friends, and everything to do with coming back to reality. I just spent a summer during which I went to the FBI Training Academy, helped discover a spy ring trying to infiltrate the CIA, and been part of an investigation into nearly $100 million in stolen paintings. And now I was a 7th grader. Just a 7th grader. I was a normal kid in a class full of normal kids, and I couldn't even tell anyone about all the cool adventures. My English teacher asked us to write about what happened over the summer, and I couldn't think of anything interesting that hadn't been classified by the government. The most exciting moment came on Tuesday afternoon when Margaret and I were walking home from school. She kept a constant lookout for anyone suspicious and was certain the man in the slow-moving Volkswagen was an EEL operative. When he stopped and got out of his car, she was prepared to, as she put it, unleash the fury of my kung fu. Luckily, she managed to stop herself when she realized he was delivering a pizza to the house we were standing in front of. Do you normally unleash that power with or without pepperoni? I asked as we both struggled to keep a straight face. By Friday, even she was no longer concerned about the Romanian mafia. On Saturday afternoon, I was in full sprawl on the couch watching television when Mom asked me if I had any homework. 5 pages of algebra and 500 words about my summer, I said. How close are you to being done? She asked. I smiled. I've got the whole weekend to do it. I haven't even started. She gave me that mom look and said, Too bad. Why? I asked. Because our deal was that you couldn't save the country until you've got your homework done. I shot upright on the couch. What? Is there work for me to do? Detective work? She held up 2 manila envelopes. Agent Rivers had these dropped off today. Let me see them, I said. She held them out for me, but then snapped them back as I reached for them. Let me see your homework. I got the point and instantly turned off the television and rushed upstairs to get my backpack. I'll have it done right away, I promised. No, you'll have it done right, she corrected. Do not rush your homework. I'm going to check everything before I consider it done. The algebra went pretty quickly, but the 500 words were a different story. I didn't know what to write. Like I said, all the cool stuff was classified, so I decided to write about our move to America and the change of culture. Pfft, Mom said after she read it. There's nothing there. That's because nothing happened, I said, except for the FBI stuff, but I can't write about that. Nothing happened? Huh, she said. Well, this is your first chance to let anyone at the school get to know you. Not really, I replied. Margaret knows me. She does, said my mother. When did she get to know you? This summer. My words trailed off when I realized what she was trying to do. I guess something did happen, she replied. I went back upstairs and wrote about my friendship with Margaret. I didn't make it all gushy. I just started writing about things we did, and by the time I stopped to take a look, I'd already finished 627 words. Magnifico, Mom said when she read it. If you'd like, I can give you one of the pictures I took of the 2 of you, and you can turn it in with your essay. Thanks, but no thanks, Mom. Margaret came over the next morning, and we went down into the basement to start working. Agent Rivers had sent 2 envelopes. One had a record of every museum employee who had traveled to Europe on official business over the past 3 years. The other had records of all the auctions for major works of Impressionism going back 5 years. Which do you want to do first? I asked. Let's start with the travel, she said. Our goal with the travel was to figure out how someone at the museum might have met Pavel Novak. Let's look at who went to conventions and expositions, I said. That's the most likely place for them to have bumped into each other. Sounds good, said Margaret. I got this list of them from my mom, I said. She's a member of some art group and gets invited to all of them. The fact that the room was unfinished is what made the underground such a great place to work. We didn't have to worry about ruining anything like the paint on the wall because there wasn't any paint on the wall. So Margaret wrote the name and date of each convention on separate index cards and taped them to the walls. Now, let's see which of these dates and places line up with trips by museum staff, she said. At first, none of the dates lined up, which didn't make any sense. After all, someone had to at least go to some meeting. I got it, I said, when I realized what she'd done wrong. The dates on the travel documents are in the American style, and the dates on the events are in Europe. We use different dates? Americans write the month first and then the day, while Europeans write the day first and then the month. So June 13th is 6/13 in America, and it's 13/6 in Europe. When we fixed this, all the trips lined up perfectly. So in the last 3 years, there were 7 conventions where museum staff went to Europe, Margaret said, looking at the wall. And that's where we'll stop today.